Welcome back to Dinar Current, your go-to source for all things related to the Iraqi dinar. Today, we diving deep into a major story that is reshaping Iraq's entire financial landscape, the central bank of Iraq's intense crackdown on money laundering. We'll explore what's happening, why it's happening now, and what it means for the dinar market and the future of Iraq's economy. For years, money laundering has been a shadow over Iraq's financial system. Since 2003, instability and corruption allowed huge sums of money, particularly US dollars, to be smuggled out of the country through unofficial channels. Criminal networks and corrupt officials exploited the system using fake import invoices and shell companies. This not only drained the economy, but also damaged the dinar's reputation, making it incredibly difficult for the central bank to maintain a stable exchange rate. To clean up this mess and align with global financial standards, the CBI has been rolling out strict anti-money laundering measures. So, what lit the fire under this crackdown? A lot of it has to do with pressure from the U.S. Treasury. Between 2023 and 2024, the U.S. Federal Reserve, which holds Iraq's dollar reserves, grew concerned that certain Iraqi banks were being used to launder money and fund activities linked to Iran and other sanctioned entities. This forced the CBI to act decisively. They started enforcing strict vetting of banks participating in their dollar auctions, demanding detailed documentation for every international transfer, and suspending banks that didn't play by the rules. This sudden tightening of the dollar supply chain caused a major disruption, leading to a significant gap between the official exchange rate and the rate on the parallel or black market. To tackle this, the CBI's reforms are built on three pillars: transparency, traceability, and modernization. They've implemented new digital monitoring systems to track all cross-border dollar transactions. They are conducting regular audits on both private and government banks to ensure compliance. And most importantly, they've banned non-compliant banks from participating in the dollar auctions, which are the primary source of US dollars in the country. Only banks that meet strict anti-money laundering and counter-financing of terrorism criteria are now allowed to handle foreign transfers. These measures are all designed to bring Iraq's banking sector in line with international regulations, aiming to boost foreign investor confidence in Iraq's monetary system. While these moves are absolutely necessary for the long-term health of the economy, they've caused some serious short-term turbulence. With many smaller banks and exchange offices cut off from their dollar supply, demand for dollars on the parallel market skyrocketed. As a result, we saw the parallel market exchange rate climb as high as 1,550 dinar per US dollar in late 2024. This made imported goods more expensive for everyday Iraqis and caused significant delays for businesses trying to make foreign transactions. Even though the official exchange rate held steady around 1,320 dinar, this growing gap between the official and unofficial markets created a lot of confusion and public frustration. This puts the central bank in a tough spot. They're performing a delicate balancing act. If they enforce too many restrictions too quickly, the dinar weakens on the black market and hurts local businesses. But if they loosen the rules, they risk allowing illegal money flows to resume. To manage this, the CBI is trying to find a middle ground. They've increased official dollar sales to trusted, legitimate importers. They are heavily promoting the use of electronic payment systems to increase transparency. And they're collaborating closely with the US Treasury to track and verify transactions. The ultimate goal here is to slowly close the gap between the official and market rates, creating a more stable and predictable environment for everyone. The private sector, especially small and medium-sized businesses, has felt the impact of this crackdown the most. Importers who rely on daily access to dollars have struggled to adapt to the new, stricter regulations. Many have reported that the heavy documentation requirements and verification delays have slowed down trade and hurt their bottom line. Some smaller traders, out of necessity, have turned back to unofficial currency dealers, which unfortunately keeps the parallel market alive. However, it's not all bad news. Larger, more compliant businesses are starting to see the benefits. They now have access to more predictable and transparent banking channels, especially as the CBI systems continue to modernize. In the long run, these reforms should reduce dependency on the black market and foster a healthier, more legitimate trade environment. A huge part of the CBI strategy moving forward is technology and digitalization. To strengthen their oversight, they are investing heavily in a digital transformation. There are even plans in the works to launch a digital dinar. This would be an electronic version of the currency, making transfers far more transparent and traceable. A digital currency would help reduce cash-based transactions, which are notoriously hard to track. It would make it easier to monitor foreign exchange activity and regulate the market effectively. And perhaps most importantly, it would help build trust with international partners and investors. By embracing digitalization, Iraq can simplify its compliance with global anti-money laundering rules and secure its place in the modern financial world. So, how is the international community reacting to all this? Generally, very positively. The International Monetary Fund, or IMF, and the World Bank have praised the CBI's efforts, seeing them as crucial steps toward modern financial governance. However, key partners, especially the U.S. Treasury, are still watching very closely. They want to see consistent proof that dollar transactions are being properly documented and that Iraqi banks are not being used as channels for sanctioned groups. Continued cooperation with these international bodies is absolutely essential for restoring full global confidence in the Iraqi dinar. Now let's talk about the long-term vision. While the current crackdown has caused short-term pain, the potential long-term benefits for Iraq and the dinar are massive. If these reforms are sustained, they will strengthen Iraq's entire financial system, boost foreign investor confidence, reduce inflation and currency manipulation, and increase the demand for the dinar in legitimate trade. By creating a more transparent market, Iraq could finally close the gap between the official and parallel exchange rates for good, stabilize prices, and take a major step toward making the dinar a trusted regional currency. Of course, the road ahead is not without its challenges. Deep-rooted corruption and weak institutional oversight are still major hurdles. The economy's heavy reliance on cash instead of digital payments makes tracking difficult. There's also a lingering public distrust of banks and government policies, which needs to be addressed. And finally, political influence over financial decisions remains a constant risk. For the CBI's reforms to truly succeed, Iraq must continue to build public confidence, improve governance across the board, and invest heavily in its digital infrastructure. In conclusion, the CBI's crackdown on money laundering is one of the most significant financial reforms in Iraq's modern history. It's a tough but necessary process. While it has created market volatility and challenges for businesses, it is laying the groundwork for a cleaner, more transparent, and internationally respected financial system. By enforcing compliance, promoting digitalization, and working with global partners, Iraq is taking bold steps to protect its economy and restore the dinar's credibility. The journey is complex, but if the CBI stays the course, we could soon see a more stable and trusted currency market, one that reflects not just Iraq's immense oil wealth, but its growing economic maturity. Thanks for watching. What are your thoughts on these reforms? Let us know in the comments below. And if you found this video informative, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to Dinar Current for more updates. We'll see you in the next one.